You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Well, welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Michael Holman.
Hey, Robbie, it's great to be here.
It's great to be here. Proud to be here. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Michael, and if you want, what you do professionally.
A little bit about myself. Well, start professionally. I'm a internal auditor for a healthcare company in Northern California. On my side, I have my own pizza business. I have my own school in my backyard, wood-fired pizza school. I teach anything that has to do with pizzas from start to finish. And I'm really involved on like the old-fashioned side. I use a sourdough starter versus a commercial yeast. But I talk about the benefits of using that and kind of go from start to finish, and it's really fun.
How do you go from auditing to making pizza? That's like a giant leap. It's like if you're a taxidermist and you just start like, I want to open up a churro farm. It's like, well, hang on a second.
Well, I've always been into cooking, and going back to about me, I have three little kids. I have twin boys who are 2.5 and a daughter who's 4. And anyone with kids knows that going out to eat is a nightmare, especially with three little kids. So my goal once I had the 3 kids was to kind of bring the pizzeria and restaurants to my backyard. So I kind of went off the deep end once I got my first pizza oven. Shout out to Uni out there. They make a great pizza oven, especially for starters. You can basically make uh, Neapolitan wood fire pizzas. It takes about less than a minute to make. It gets about 900 degrees.
Well, even starting off making pizza, like you just did that because the restaurant factor with your kids, you just wanted to decide to make pizza. Like, I mean, we all know a good slice, depending on where you're from, actually. Like, from you, are you born and raised in Sacramento?
Yeah, well, I was born in the Bay Area, but we moved here when I was 5. So basically, I say I'm from the Sacramento area. Yeah.
So what's your favorite type of slice? Like, what do you like on, like, if you're going to ask for a pizza place, and then what toppings would you get? Would you get plain cheese?
I mean, I like to judge a place based off of their cheese slice, but if I was just gonna go like at night, I would just go classic pepperoni. I mean, it's a pretty safe bet. But I'm all about any different type of style.
What are we talking about? Home style, like some like mom and pop shop type pizza places, or are we talking about like a delivery service?
I kind of became like a pizza hipster because of this. Um, kind of went off the deep end, so I like to support the local mom and pop places versus like the commercial chains. Find out that they definitely respect the craft more, and kind of bring a different vibe to the pizza, and they
It's it,
use
it
better.
it's a they add flavor to it is what I call it. Like it's that classic style. Like when you bite into a nice mom and pop pizza shop like pizza slice or something. Wow, try
Yeah,
saying that 6 times fast. But when you bite into one of these slices, dude, the taste of it is like is it obviously everything with a pizza slice, but like for me, I grew up in Ocean City, Maryland. There's not a whole lot of pizza joints down here, and if anything, there's like one that's a major one called Mioni's, and they have like they like to go like, oh, we're full Italian and everything. I'm like, I don't know any Italian people that work here, but
right.
when they make pizza, it's it's done in an oven. I don't know the whole process behind it, but when you get it, you get this nice thick cut pizza. I've always enjoyed a nice thick slice. And then Domino's was me as a kid, man. Every time I'd order Domino's because oregano on the crust, you cannot go wrong.
Yeah. I'm the thick parts. I learned that it's kind of cool in the United States. Every different region has different styles of pizza. A new up and coming style of pizza is actually Detroit style pizza, where it's like a thicker crust, and they actually use a cheese crust on the outside. So they actually when they have thick metal pans, they're about 2 inches deep, and what they do is it's almost like a focaccia, and they put like a cheddar cheese around the outside. So you get like a crispy cheddar cheese outside, and then you get like a nice mild cheese in the middle. So it's a thick pizza with a cheese crust, and you have a nice layer. They put the sauce on top. It's really good. That's probably the most popular one at the moment. And then everyone knows New York style, which is a thinner.
I heard Chicago was like terrible, not even really considered pizza because it's like it's the deep dish, so it's more like a lasagna. I mean, it makes
Yeah,
sense, but I don't know. See, I look at people when I judge them when they eat pizza because I used to do it like if it's super hot, you eat it like with a fork, like the first couple bites. But if you sit there and you continue to eat the whole pizza with a fork, I know it's traditionally supposed to be done that way, but to me, that's just weird. I think you might be a psychopath. You might have a couple bodies in the basement. For me, I like the
yeah,
best part of a pizza slice is when you grab like the slice out of the box and you get that cheese pull. Like there's no better feeling than that. Like you
oh
look
yeah,
like you just, you can conquer the world. You're like Conan the Barbarian.
yeah. I agree with that one. I mean, everyone has their own theories on pizza. I mean, I actually recently this week made a Chicago deep dish, and it was fantastic. A lot of people, if you're from Chicago, they like the tavern style. They call it Chicago thins. They make it super thin, crispy. It's almost like a bar pizza. So if you're from Chicago, a lot of like the locals that they actually eat that. But it's either that Chicago thin tavern style pizza or the deep dish, which is like the radio show I listen to. The guy calls it a casserole, not a pizza.
Exactly. What would you say would be the worst slice of pizza? Because my grandpa's going to kill me if I say this, but Little Caesars, man, they were good at first, but then it's just crap. And he loves that pizza religiously. I'm like, dude, you're eating straight cardboard. Like there's a very soft, thin layer of cheese. It's either Little Caesars is the worst for me, or there's a place called Lito's Pizza. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but they have the thinnest crust. It's like little square pieces where you bite into it, and it's just like I don't even know what it's like the outside crust layer. Like you get that little like crust piece you can break off, looks like bark. That's what it is. And I'm like, how do you guys like this? I want to bite into like I'm biting into one of those sleep pillows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Little Caesar, you can't expect much. It was like $5 for a pizza.
It's
So
$7.99.
I know, like drunk college kids, they don't care what they're eating, and obviously they have a good business model and open up all around the country. So I mean, for me, it's like pizza's pizza. I mean, actually, I'm not a big fan of like those frozen pizzas, like that taste like cardboard. Um, but like the Little Caesars, I mean, I kind of avoid just by being a pizza guy.
Yeah, you probably look at pizza a little bit more different than I do. I mean, I look at it
Yeah,
like this is fucking someone gave me some cardboard to eat, and you look at it like, well, they didn't do this right. It's a cheap style of pizza. They didn't put any effort into it. It's one of those like, let me just pull it out of here and put it on there, and next thing you know, bam, there you go. Like
yeah,
there's definitely a difference. I mean, if you want to talk about being sober than being drunk and compared to eating pizza, when you're drunk, you want something greasy, you want something slimy, you want something good, and that depends on your pizza place. I really like going to the mom and pop shops when you want something that has a nice like gooey really cheese to it and a nice kind of grease to it. Not so much like I went to the dough roller one time. I don't know if you've ever heard of that place. But
no,
it's like a pizza restaurant on the boardwalk in my town, and literally I saw my buddy's mom grab a napkin, put it on top of the pizza and just soak up all the grease that was just sitting on top. And I looked at that, I was like, I'm gonna eat it, but I don't that's definitely not a good way of making pizza.
yeah, no, I don't do that. I mean, you definitely see that all over. I've definitely seen people do that all the time.
Well, what types of things do you look at when you like if you go to a pizza place or just from learning yourself? Like
I mean, because I'm all hands on, so I start from start to finish. I always joke around saying, so my sourdough pizza is only three ingredients. So it's only basically flour, water, and salt. And what I do is I let it ferment for 72 hours. So basically, my pizza, I always joke around. I said it takes 72 hours to make, 1 minute to cook in the oven, and about 5 minutes to eat. So it's like that whole 6 minutes of baking it and eating it is kind of seems like not that much time when all reality it's taken 3 days just to make. But I find it relaxing, and definitely fulfilling making a pizza from start to scratch.
I haven't made too many pizzas. I think the only pizza I've ever made and my most memorable experience, I'm going to ask you to. Um, I opened up a Lunchable one time, the pizza ones. That's probably as far as I've been to making a pizza. Like, and even that, I don't think I did it right because they give you the cheese like in a little thing that you're supposed to
Yeah.
drizzle. And I'm like trying to copy the guy or the kid in the commercial where I'm like, this is bullshit. This isn't how it works. So I just end up putting pizza sauce on a little thing, and then you end up putting it in the microwave. I almost set the house on fire, but I don't know.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't have any experience in that. I think that's a good thing. All my pizza followers would probably unblock me, or block me.
What about your most memorable pizza experience when it comes to just making a slice of pizza? Probably a better way than me with a Lunchable.
I mean, I think my most memorable recently, when I first started making my own dough, the first couple times you're like, not really knowing what you're doing. And then one time, my most memorable one was when you make the perfect dough for the first time, and it's super elastic. It stretches perfectly. You launch it into the pizza oven. It gets that perfect char and consistency, and you kind of just go from there. I think what got me off the deep end in pizza was when I first got my oven, I was buying like the store dough from the grocery store and using like online recipes to make my own. And it really wasn't that good. And I kind of had some friends give me some tough reviews, which I appreciate, saying, it's not that good, but it could be better. So just like anything, whether it's sports or your job, you always just kind of strive to perfect your craft. So I think that's what kind of got me.
Each pizza maker is completely different too. If you look at all the home artisans that make it in their backyard, like yourself, or a regular pizza shop too, each one's completely different based on what you prefer in your pizza. Do you
Right.
prefer, are you a crust man? I'm a crust guy. Do you prefer the sauce? Do you prefer the cheese? How do you like the cheese of it? Do you like it like, I've had some cheese before where I swear to God, I probably have almost choked and died. Like, when you don't cut a steak properly and it gets stuck together and you swallow and the piece is still in your mouth, but half of it's down your throat and it's just stuck there.
Right.
I've had that with cheese where biting into it's like rubber. It's like stuck in your throat, ends up gumming up your system. I mean, they tell you not to eat gum for 7 years, but good God, Chuck E. Cheese, what the hell are you doing to me?
That's funny. Yeah, with the three kids, we actually go to Chuck E. Cheese quite often. So, to their defense, their pizza is better than, like you said, Little Caesars, or I would actually say it's better than Domino's too.
Sir, I take more. You can insult anybody in my family. I don't care, but don't you dare insult Domino's. That's $7.99. You get a 2 liter, two medium pizzas. I tore that shit up as a kid, but even as a kid, like those delivery moments were the best. Like, what's your best delivery moment? Like, if you had to order a pizza or something, you're hanging out with some buddies. Your parents were like, "Here's $20 for the weekend." You're like, "Awesome!" And then next, you blow it in one night, and then the rest of the days, you're basically looking for ramen and shit to eat.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in college we'd always wait till the local pizzeria would do a buy one get one free starting at 10 p.m. So it'd be like 9 p.m. We would just wait patiently and then call them up at 10 o'clock on the dot just to get that buy one get one free. So that was pretty cool. And then obviously, like growing up as a kid, when your parents trust you enough to stay at home by yourself, they'd go out and do whatever they want with their friends and give you, like you said, give you $20 and you get that delivery pizza and you just be like pretty pumped with you and your brother and maybe one other person.
See. There's always a thing when they left you money on the table and you're sitting there like, all right, we got $20. That means we have a $20 balance we can use. So you're adding everything in. Like, how much is the cheese sticks? All right, take that off. Hang on a second. I only have $20. It comes out to $19.97. And then you got to realize when the dude gets to the door, I didn't factor in fucking tip.
Yeah, I know. When you're like 10 to 12 years old, you're like, all you care about is that extra side of cheesy bread. You don't care about the guy.
Yeah, see, that's how like my pizza for me, I prefer a nice thick crust to it. And when I found out Domino's uses oregano on it, I was just blown away. But I mean, those moments, like my dad would leave me $20, you go out and DJ a gig or something. Next, thing you know, I'm upstairs playing like Halo with a 2 liter of Mountain Dew or Coke, and with the medium Domino's pizza in front of me. I mean, those were great moments that you always
Oh
remember.
yeah.
But if you look at like delivery moments, man. the weirdest experience I think I've ever had was I ordered 2 large cheese pizzas. One half was pepperoni, and then the other half was just cheese. It was me and my buddies. We were playing the game Halo 3, and we're getting a achievement that took like literally you have to fight waves and waves of enemies. It lasted 4 hours, I think. Like we were in this process and nobody was getting up. People were like switching out to do pee breaks and stuff. It was crazy. You're a kid. This is insane for you. So
Yeah.
it I think I only had like $17 or something. Like it was just an off number, and the total came out to like 22 something. And he rolls up to the door, and I just open up the door. I'm like, "Let me talk to you for a minute." And the guy's like, "What?" I'm like, "Let me talk to you just for 1 minute, man." He's like, "We're talking right now." I'm like, "No, no, come inside, sit down. I need to talk to you for a second." He's like, "What the hell?" He's like, he's in his 20s, probably my age now. I'm probably like 14 years old. Comes in, sits right on the chair that's like right by the door, and he goes, "So what's going on?" And I'm like, "Look, we're getting a VidMaster achievement. We've been doing this for hours. I do not have enough money to pay you for the full thing. Is there anything we can work out?" And he just looks at me, looks around, and just goes, "What you got on you?" And I said, "I got 16 or $17 or something." And he goes, "All right, give me that." And then he just takes 2 slices and goes out. I'm like, "That's a fucking guy, man."
That's good.
That's why I ordered from Domino's so much, dude. I was hoping I'd get that guy again, man.
Yeah, that's cool right there. Yeah, I've had experiences like that where it's like I remember around a little after college, you're still not making that much money. My buddy and I are playing like beer bong in the not beer bong, beer pong in the garage, and the guy comes up, and instead of a tip, we just give him a couple beers. But in all reality, that's still like a couple of bucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I was a pizza guy, I was like, "Yeah, this is cool, but I don't know what I'm going to give my boss." But you got to think of all the old school tricks there was to get free pizza and stuff. Like you'd put a hair on it and be like, "Look, oh, I got a hair on my pizza. This should be free slice or something." Like, all right, sure. Because them, it's like we make a whole bunch of them. And then my one buddy had a trick where he would get someone to call in and place an order for pizza, and then wouldn't pick it up. So then he would end up taking it home. But he lived off pizza for so long. I was like, "Dude, all
Yeah.
you have in your fridge is pizza." And that comes out to a good question. Do you prefer it cold or do you prefer it hot?
Well, I prefer it hot, but for leftovers, I usually eat it cold.
I don't know what it is about cold pizza. Like I used to work at a hotel and you would always pull out giant pizza boxes. We have these deals down here like at Tony Luke's or some of these what is it? Ponzetti's or something. Get like a 5 foot pizza, like the boxes just can't even fit in the fucking door, like you're trying to move furniture. And I would pull all these out of here and just see so many leftover different pizza combinations and stuff. But that's the one thing you would always find in the fridge that people would end up taking with them was the slices of pizza. People would have them in Ziploc bags and stuff. I would pull out funnel cakes. I would pull out all this other stuff. But pizza's the one thing that if you don't eat it that night, you can refrigerate it and it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, things like going back to the deep dish I made the other day. That has to be heated up for leftovers. But like New York slice, leftover pizza like that. I mean, breakfast the next day, it works perfect.
It's a good breakfast too. It's breakfast of champions. You get your
Yeah,
protein, you get your whatever, toppings you have on it. But when it comes to your craziest creation, what is something that you've really kind of experimented with pizza? Like I've seen what I call an act of going against God at a pizza place was when I got one of these pizza boxes at my hotel, I was throwing it out and I was like, something does not smell correct. So I open it up and I'm thinking like maybe a fish smell or something. Fucking Nutella and banana on the pizza as the pizza sauce was Nutella. I almost puked. I have never seen that in my entire life, but crazy combination.
yeah. I mean, I actually like to make a lot of dessert pizzas. Recently, I've been making a Nutella raspberry coulis, which is basically a pureed raspberry with simple syrup, and then I sprinkle a little powdered sugar on top, and it's really good. But the craziest thing, I actually recently just won a pizza Instagram contest through a San Francisco blogger.
Hashtag
Home,
praise the champ.
that's right. What I did was it was a Corona quarantine competition for pizza makers, and I made I smoked a whole chicken using Corona beer, and then I made a Detroit style barbecue chicken pizza with barbecue sauce and ranch finisher. But what I did was when I was grating the cheese, I figured why not? Because obviously everyone has a toilet paper shortage right now. Why not roll the cheese and make little toilet papers on top? So I created a little toilet paper cheese topper, and I think based off of that, that's what kind of set me over the edge from everyone else.
It sounds like the art you would see in a museum, like when someone duct tapes a banana to a wall, what you just described. I mean, that's what it is when you're creating a pizza. It's a creation.
Yeah, but I don't know if you have In-N-Out Burger out there.
It's
Uh,
not that good, bro. Don't give me
uh,
the praise to Jesus with
I'm
In and Out. Their
I might
burgers
hang.
are
I might have to hang up right now if you say that. I was just,
dude, I'm telling you, I had one of their burgers after hearing so much hype about them when I went to Vegas, and then I bought one, and it was so small, and I was like, it's not that good to me. I was like, I've had a better cheeseburger at like a, when you put bacon on it or something.
yeah, we can agree to disagree, but they have a spread. And I usually get the spread on the side, dip my fries in it. But what I was doing, I was hoarding the spread because in the back of my mind, I was going to make a cheeseburger pizza using their spread. So I think that's maybe one of the wildest ones. I made the pizza, then I topped it with once it was done baking, I topped it with like fresh lettuce and tomato. So it was like the kind of a weird consistency, but I thought it was pretty good.
Now, even when you're talking about like adding sauce to a pizza, I wonder if someone could add Chick-fil-A sauce to a pizza. Like,
Uh, See, I ought to get down with that. That's actually a good call. I'm gonna have to try that.
if you do it, better tag me.
Yeah, I will for sure. Yeah, Chick-fil-A sauce is my favorite.
Yeah, like it's everyone's favorite, and they only give you two, and you're like, "Can I get more?" Like, how much do you want? I'm like, "How much is a tub? How much?"
Yeah,
If they sell a 10-pound tub of Nutella at Costco, I think Chick-fil-A can toss me a couple extra
yeah.
for my each one of my nuggets.
I heard a rumor they were bottling their Polynesian sauce, like and selling it at the grocery store. So I'm like, why wouldn't you start with the Chick-fil-A sauce?
Exactly. That's like the best one. People are like, well, we don't want to give out the Chick-fil-A one that easily because people can analyze our recipe. I'm like, that makes sense. Makes sense. But even when it
Yeah,
comes to like, have you think your tastes have really changed from just starting making pizza? Like when you go into a place, like what's the first thing you kind of pick out on a pizza? Like I feel like with learning so much about it and being able to cook it a certain way, I would be like kind of reviewing every single slice I ever had.
yeah. I think it's all about the crust first and foremost. So that sets the base for it. And then after that, you can kind of pick apart the sauce and the cheese. You can obviously tell if it's fresh, like if you're getting fresh vegetables or the different styles of like sausage or pepperoni. But I think first and foremost for me, it's all about the crust.
Do you try and factor in the whole fact like when you do you want a nice thick one? Do you try and incorporate cheese into the crust like Pizza Hut did that? I don't think it's that good, but honestly, when I'm trying pizzas, nobody beats the school lunch pizza. I don't
Yeah,
know
those like
I don't know what it was, but each one of those school lunch pizzas, it didn't matter if you brought a lunch. You're like, my mom didn't pack me shit. And you just threw it right in the trash can.
yeah, I agree with that. It's slice of cheese or pepperoni and like a chocolate milk. It's like basically what you grew up on.
If you say ranch on your pizza, I might freak out because that was disgusting to me.
Really,
That one and strawberry milk was like the two. I was like, no, 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 no.
I I like the ranch on my pizza. But like I said, that barbecue chicken pizza I made, I drizzled it with ranch and barbecue sauce. I think that's fine. But even with like a pepperoni, I get down on the ranch dip.
See, like my tastes have changed from when I was a kid. When I originally was like cheese pizza, that's it, nothing else, nothing else. And I remember I ate one time. I had the Hawaiian pizza. Like people always say, pineapple is a disgrace on pizza. I'm like, how is it a disgrace? It's fucking good. I see
Yeah,
Nutella on a pizza way worse than pineapple and ham. Why is that such a big thing in the pizza community?
yeah. I don't know. I think I've always been. I've always liked the pineapple on my pizza. It's a mystery to me why it's such a big, uh, you know, deal for people to see if it's worth having the pineapple on the pizza. But going back to your Nutella, I mean, I also grew up on like dessert pizza, so like a cinnamon sugar with like a a glaze on top. Going to like the buffet when you're like 10 years old, you're always grabbing that stuff first.
I've never heard of a dessert pizza until I saw that Nutella thing.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I've always been around desserts, pizza. I make a s'mores pizza, which is really good.
What's in a s'mores pizza? You just put graham cracker as the crust?
Well, no, I do a regular crust, my regular sourdough crust, and I par bake it. Then I put peanut butter on it, chocolate chips, and then I do marshmallows, and then I put once it's all done, I crumple up the graham crackers.
See, that sounds delicious if you put it on like one of those breads they give you at the Outback. Whatever that bread is that you just want to keep ordering more and more and more. If you made a pizza out of that, then incorporated like anything dessert on top of it, I could definitely get down with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just like I said, all different styles and different things. So I think it's kind of fun. Actually, in my cooking class, when everyone's kind of sitting down and enjoying their pizzas they created, I actually one of the last things I do is I make them a dessert pizza.
Now you're teaching the cooking class.
Yeah, so I'm the instructor.
Well, how'd you decide to do that? Like you just loved cooking your own pizza so much you thought you'd teach some people on how to do it?
I wanted to get involved some way in the pizza world. I didn't really want to open up a pie shop because with the kids, it's very time consuming, and also I have a good career. So just to get involved, I wanted to kind of use my backyard and my knowledge as like a fun experience for people. And I market it through Airbnb experiences, which is really cool. Um, but anywhere from like 2 to 10 people can come on a given night. I usually do maybe 2 a month, and like I said, we start from start to finish with teaching them how to make dough, teaching them all about the sourdough starter. It's very fulfilling too for people to send me messages, a month later, and they're making pizzas at home, making bread at home using that sourdough starter. So it's pretty cool.
How important is it to actually beat the living shit out of the dough when you're making the pizza? Because every time I walk into a pizza joint and they're making the pizza like right in front of you, they're like flipping it up in the air and doing all these tricks. I'm like, that's obviously for show. But then like they hit the dough on the table or something, they start punching the living crap out of it. I'm like, if literally giving abuse, physical abuse to the dough makes it taste better, then why don't we just hire like Rocky Balboa or Mike Tyson or all these people to just beat the living crap out of it before it goes in the oven?
Yeah, I mean, I don't beat the crap out of it before it goes in the oven. I beat the crap out of it while I'm making it.
Do you just put all your aggression into it?
Part of like the kneading process. That's why it's kind of like I called it like relaxing and soothing for me when I'm making the dough, because it's like when the kids are going ballistic during the day, you can just be like, okay, all right,
It's
now it's time to
fucking
make some dough.
therapy. It is
Yeah,
therapy. You don't need a punching bag. Just get a body thing filled with dough and beat the living hell out of it.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it definitely helps create a strong, what they call it, a strong gluten network. So when you're making the dough at first, it's very important to knead the dough and combine all the ingredients and make a nice smooth dough ball before it sits to ferment.
I had a
Um,
certain experience. I went to a place called Carrabba's. It's like a nice little like Italian joint, but
oh
there
yeah, I've heard of
they had
that.
the tables at like the pizza part where like the guys would make the pizza or put the food in the oven. You get to watch them cook. And I remember the guy was it was like I was probably 9 or 10 years old, but it was like 2 weeks before my birthday. And we're doing an early dinner because my birthday happens to fall on like the worst day, the last day of the year to go out to eat. So we do this family dinner, and the dude hands me a little like baseball sized thing of dough. Just play with it. So I'm sitting there molding faces into it and doing all this, and then he's like, "Yeah, you go keep it." That whole thing. It was a great experience that really like stuck in my mind. And then when I get home, like the piece obviously hardened and become like I'd had it on like display, but it made my hands smell like shit. I don't know what it was, but my hands smelled terrible. I was touching my face like it smells bad, but I want to keep smelling it.
Pretty yeasty, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, going back to, I always joke around about the kids, but one of the things I enjoy is actually making the dough with the kids. Even though they're super, super young, it's fun to have it hands on with them, give them something to do. And they always like joke around talking about, are we making pizza dough? Because In our house, we make it quite often. But
Well, it's like a do an activity with dad program.
yeah, I mean, my goal, I've always loved cooking. My parents cook. My grandma was always a cook. So if I can share with them how to cook at a young age and learn their way around a kitchen, I'll be very satisfied with that. I mean, there's so many people out there these days that don't know even how to make a eggs or grilled cheese sandwich. So just by having them learn how to do different things around the kitchen, when they get older and they kind of, enjoy that different hobby, I think that'd be cool for me.
Well, we live in a world now where like convenience is everything and being fast paced is everything. Hot pockets are way simple, way easy.
Yeah.
My parents, both of them worked like all the time, so nobody was really ever home. So it was like kind of learn how to feed yourself. So I never learned how to use the oven. I was a
Right.
microwave guy. I was a stovetop guy. But like I would just tell my dad, like, dude, you work, you're only home 3 hours a night. Get your sleep. Just give me $10. I'll go to Dollar Tree and get all those little microwavable chicken sandwiches. That got me through fucking high school. You know, they're good stuff. It's manageable, but I think
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot more now with people becoming entrepreneurs. And like, technically, you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you're doing an adventure by yourself. You sell your pizza to people, right?
Right. Right.
So
And then this week with all the small businesses going on, I'm actually have a couple orders for Thursday and Friday, and I'm taking all my proceeds to that and buying gift cards to, like, the local pizzerias in my neighborhood to support them.
I mean, it's perfect because like what we're seeing is a lot of people with becoming entrepreneurs and events happening, they're spending more time at home. They're having a lot more like they're not going out, they're not doing anything, they're not doing all these types of things. That's hard on some businesses, but having a lot of at-home experience with your kids, having those moments like you're creating pizza with your kids and then you're giving it like selling it or something. It's an amazing experience. You get to learn, you get to be there for them, they get to remember that, and then they learn how to cook. I fucking wish someone would have took the time to really teach me how to make a souffle. I just heard you couldn't be loud, and I was like, I'm not about it because I need to be loud when I cook. I like to,
Yeah.
play a song. I like to, you know,
Oh yeah.
really beat the shit out of the dough if I'm gonna make a pizza.
Yeah. I totally agree. Whatever you want to do, whether you want to play some Slipknot or listen to classical music, do whatever you got to do just to kind of set your phone to the side, turn your TV off, computer off, and kind of just make it all about that experience with the dough or just whatever you're cooking in general. Um,
What do you typically try and teach to newcomers that are learning in your class, like your process through it in a little bit? Like I had a cooking teacher. She wasn't very good in school. I think we made food probably 3 times, but the whole time she's like, you just turn the oven on, then you do it this way, then you put it in. I'm like, what? Well, if I want to do it at home, how the hell am I going to do it without you being there? I can't just go to your house and make me something.
I do. My classes are only 3 hours max, so within those 3 hours, it's obviously tough to sit there and do it 100% start to finish. So I do my dough in like three different steps. The first thing we do is I teach them how to mix the dough properly. It's all about weighing the ingredients versus like cups and teaspoons and stuff like that. So I show them how to mix the dough, and then the next step I show them how to roll the dough out into different dough balls. Once you have the dough balls rolled out, that's when you kind of let it sit in the fridge and let it ferment. Once the once the dough balls are done, I show you how to properly stretch the dough, and then obviously top it and launch it. One of the things I kind of came across, learned it on myself, and I thought it was a great learning trick was, before my class, I actually make a dough in my oven, no toppings on it, and I freeze it. And with the frozen dough, I bring it out frozen and kind of teach my students how to properly launch their pizza into the oven using the peel and take it out, and kind of go from there. Because with the launch, you have to have some sort of kind of rhythm and smoothness to it. And when your hand's going into a 900-degree oven, it can be kind of intimidating.
That's why I didn't learn the oven, man. As soon as that door opens up, you get hit with that wave of hot. When I was a little kid, I
Yeah,
was like, I ain't about that.
yeah. And most home ovens get maybe a max of 500, and if you're lucky, 550. My wood burning oven in the backyard can in the summertime can reach into 1,000 degrees. So just even more intimidating to that. So I do that for the reason being that the next step is when they're making their pizza, they're putting their toppings on it. They're, super proud of their dough they stretched, and they have all the perfect ingredients on it. The last thing I want them to do is throw it into the oven, and now it turns into a calzone because they didn't do it properly. So just little tricks like that, I find that, they can kind of take it to their home oven and have the confidence they need to, make a nice home pizza from scratch.
Do you rely on anything on spices or anything? Like I know we talked about oregano on the crust for Domino's, but I've seen a taco pizza where they use it's like a little bit of taco meat, maybe some ground beef or something, and then incorporate cumin into the pizza because cumin literally makes it taste like Taco Bell.
No, I think, well, like I said, my crust is the sourdough base, so I get a lot of the flavors from my starter, the sourdough starter, and then the key to any dough is letting it sit to kind of develop their flavor. So my crust is really flavorful just based off of that. And then like sauce wise, the king of tomatoes is from San Marzano in Italy. If you're using those tomatoes, or even being a Northern California guy, Stanislaus County has great tomatoes. So I either use one of those two tomatoes, and then I like to put a little sea salt, like I said, oregano, garlic in my sauce, and then use high quality cheese. Fresh mozzarella. I like to use a combination of fresh mozzarella, low moisture mozzarella, and some like provolone. I find that's a good combination.
I know when you order pizza or something, they always give you like red pepper or something to add to it. I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't understand why people even use that on a pizza. I'm like, it's already
yeah.
fine to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it sometimes, but definitely when it's like lacks flavor. But they have cool things like now there's a cool company out of Brooklyn called Mike's Hot Honey. If you have like a pepperoni pizza, you can pour a little of that hot honey on top, and it kind of gives a different flavor dynamic to it. So you kind of see that at different pizza, like kind of more craft pizzerias around the country are using that.
I do like a nice fluffy crust, I like a nice thick crust, not like a light one, but I do like it burnt a little bit, like a little bit crusty, like a little bit like sometimes like I know some pizza places that leave the pizza in a little bit longer so then that sauce and the cheese instead of looking like that yellow with the little spots of like black or brown on it, it's like charred, like it looks like the cheese went red, like a dark red or something. I didn't know what the difference was, but I find those are typically better tasting. I don't know, I like that crunch factor that it gives you.
Yeah, I agree with that. It gives it a different the wood burning oven. You kind of what you want to look for is little black. They call it leopard print around the crust. So a little char leopard print around the crust. That's a good sign of a good crust. And also, like I said, the any type of char, whether it's the cheese or the crust, I like that as well. But I mean, there's also I call it like the Costco pizza effect. Like there's some people that just like a straight straight crust that's always the same, you know, quarter inch of cheese, and they just want to get their $10 pizzas money's worth. They don't care about the quality ingredients or anything like that.
Well, it's because we live in a fast-paced world where it's like out
Yeah,
it tastes good to me, but it's like but there's no like you'll get a better pizza if you just wait a little bit longer. For someone that has an attention span like me that needs to have something like right now, like if you tell me to throw anything in a crock pot or you tell me to preheat an oven to 550, it's not happening. I'm more than happy to wait 2 minutes on the microwave for the same kind of food, but it's going to taste completely different.
right.
And if we look at things like you selling your pizzas as well, when you sell a pizza, are you hand delivering them as well?
Yeah, usually they come and pick it up from me. Obviously, now during this Corona thing, it's a little different. So using gloves, taking the precautions, and leaving it on the doorstep, so there's really no interaction, just because of the virus. But I mean, there's things I like to make like a Neapolitan pizza, for instance. Like a Neapolitan pizza, if you're not eating it within 5-10 minutes, it actually completely changes the dynamic of the pizza. So I actually don't sell those to go. If you're using and making like a pizza like a New York style, like a Sicilian style, which is thicker, or like a Detroit style, which we kind of talked about earlier with the cheese crust. Those handle pretty well with delivery and to go and actually reheating it. So it's kind of weird, all the different styles out there. There's different dynamics. I mean, what's good right away versus what's good 30 minutes from once it's done cooking.
I mean, even when you're talking about like pizza, when it comes to Neapolitan style. So what's exactly the distinct difference? Because I think I've been explained to it before, but I just haven't, I guess, soaked it in. It hasn't really soaked into the crust. Hashtag pizza reference.
Yeah. Well, Neapolitan style is like it's from Naples, so it's like the Naples, Italy style of pizza. If you want a true Neapolitan style pizza, you're using. They have like almost like strict guidelines for like what they want to do. I'm sure you heard of like margarita style pizza, right?
Yeah, it's spelled differently, like the queen.
Yeah, yeah, the queen. So like a margarita, if you're doing like a traditional margarita, you have to use the San Marzano tomatoes. You're using it's called fior di latte, which is like a fresh mozzarella. If you can't even use like a buffalo mozzarella, if you use a buffalo mozzarella, they're calling it something completely different. So, like I said, the San Marzano tomatoes, you're using fior di latte, which is the fresh mozzarella, and then you're cooking it into like a around 900-degree oven for about 60 seconds. You're finishing it with you can either finish it with the basil or cook it with the basil, and then you're adding a little bit of sea salt and extra virgin olive oil on top. So things like that are like very traditional, and like people will call you out if you're not doing a traditional way. They have different things. So it's like Neapolitan, which is a NEA. That's the traditional way. Now it's like what I usually do is like a Neapolitan, the NEO. That's like you can kind of make it kind of like your own, even though it's like similar crust. You can kind of make a Neapolitan style pizza that's not as it's almost like a Neapolitan pizza that's not traditional. If that makes sense.
I think that's important when you're a pizza maker, or it's called a pizzolo. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, yeah, Pizzaiolo. So
Pizza.
it's basically it's a pizza. It's basically a pizza, yeah, pizza maker.
But when you're making pizza, like the distinct differences on depending on who makes it, the type of style that you like, and especially where you're from, kind of all goes into a pizza. I mean, the crazy
Right.
combinations that you see too. I mean, we're living in a world now where people are just going to put anything on anything, like a leftover pizza, whatever we got in the fridge is going on a pizza.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I think, just with the whole patience factor that goes into it too. And would you say that like going to the grocery store or getting your ingredients, you prefer to pick out the ones fresh depending on what pizza you're going to make? Like picking out the tomatoes, do you make your own sauce? For me, I'm a quick like, what goes into a pizza? Okay, I'm buying these ingredients and that's it. It's like, but do you want zucchini on there? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want whatever? I'm like, I don't know. How do you make a vegan pizza? I'm fucking clueless. I don't understand what I guess eliminates the vegan factor.
Yeah. So I mean, the vegan factor, like you can go back to a margarita pizza. Pizza's basically vegan. Like a vegetarian pizza, for instance, would be vegan, but the only thing that is separating it from vegan to vegetarian is the cheese, because normal mozzarella cheese is using cow's milk. So there's different vegan cheese out there. I've never actually used them. There's
My
a guy
stomach just curdled because I immediately
Yeah,
thought of a tofu pizza. I was like, ah.
yeah. I mean, I like vegetarian style pizzas. I've never actually made a vegan pizza, but I mean, if you had the right cheese, the vegan cheese, you could try it out. There's a guy I follow. He's from the UK. He does mostly vegan pizzas, and he kind of has a vegan ricotta cheese, which I'm kind of interested to try out. But I've never really had to make it yet. No one from my class has been vegan yet, but I've had some vegetarian classes, which I'm okay with because I mean, having like a traditional margarita or like some fresh produce on your pizza is actually pretty good.
Well, like I'm a big egg fanatic, which is why I could never be vegan. But like, you have to do, I guess, you have to eat that style or know a lot about it or really enjoy it to be able to make a pizza about it. Like I've had, go to like a place where they have a vegetarian pizza, even though I know the guy probably eats 4 cows a day. And I'm like, I just don't believe the vegetarian in the pizza with all the vegetables and stuff. Like, it tastes okay, but like, there's no that pizzazz. Like, you see certain like pizza artisans is what I like to call them. You know, they're going, they're living that lifestyle. They know about it. They know what's good in that style. Me, I've eaten salads basically every day for like the past 7.5 years. So I know exactly what, like, oh, I can add this to that. I can do this. I can incorporate this. I can incorporate that. I know so much about it. I can make you a banging ass salad with some meat on top of it. But if you're gonna ask me to make you like a classic burger, I know what's good from talking to so many like barbecue fanatics, but I wouldn't be able to put my heart into it because just sitting next to a red meat or anything, my stomach and my asshole will just pucker up because I haven't eaten it in so long that if I tried eating it, it just wrecks my digestive system.
Oh yeah. So are you don't eat red meat?
I try and stay away from it mostly because it sits pretty heavy. I'm a big
Yeah.
like low body fat type of fitness guy. So instead of like going for bulk or anything like that, I usually go for aesthetics. So I eat a lot of fish, you know, a lot of like clean stuff. Like if you pull out a Domino's pizza around me, I have an inner fat kid that will take that full pizza, turn it into a taco, and eat it that way. That's also a way you judge people when they eat their pizza. Do they fold it? They better fold it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I eat red meat, but I do it in moderations. I mean, you can't eat like going back to when I was like 18 years old. I thought it was cool to maybe eat like a 2 pound steak at the steakhouse. But then nowadays, I'm 35. Like if I did that, I'd be calling in sick for work for a few days, you know?
You start a nosebleed, you get your cholesterol would go through the roof.
Right. So, I mean, that's pretty unnecessary to eat that much meat in general. So, but I mean, I'm all about whether it's a vegetarian pizza, straight cheese pizza, meat pizza, whatever. My boss is vegetarian, so he kind of got me on the. We've been testing out a lot of like the Beyond and Impossible products, so it's kind of cool. I've actually done a few experiments with making like meat on my pizzas, the sausages and stuff like that.
Have they actually worked out that impossible meat? I haven't tried it before, but people are saying like you couldn't tell really the difference.
I mean, I can tell the difference if you're a meat eater, but it's definitely a good alternative, especially if you're. Actually, the ironic part is the best burger I've had with those two products have been from Carl's Jr. So I mean, I've
Okay, you gotta solve this one for me. In and Out, Carl's Jr. Or is it Carl's Jr. and Hardee's? I'm so confused. The yellow and the red really throw me off on everything.
yeah, I think Carl's Jr. and Hardee's are the same company. In and Out's completely different.
Why the fuck don't we just call it Carl's Jr. instead of calling it Carl's Jr. or Hardee's? Like, depending on your location, like that's Hardee's. It's like, do you mean Carl's Jr.? It's like, I don't know what we're talking about. Is it two
Right.
distinctive different places? Because I see the same cashier at each one.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't know. It must be they must have merged in the past and kept the Hardee's or the Carl's Jr.'s, whatever it was.
Now, is Papa John's big down where you're at?
I mean, it's there, but I would say it's. I'm not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan of Papa John's either. I thought it was pretty cool what they were doing. Like Domino's just did in our town was all their like side earning of their pizza money went to fixing the town. Like we have these giant potholes that if you hit one of these potholes, everyone in the car is probably hitting their head on the roof, and your car is probably
Yeah,
not going anywhere else. It's out of alignment. But they would stamp their logo on the potholes after they filled them up, which I was like, that's great advertising. But like, we have a local pizza joint that like someone in my family always orders all the time, and I'm just like, just give me broccoli bites, give me broccoli bites. And she's like, you're not gonna eat a slice of pizza? I was like, nah, I haven't. I don't do all that pizza stuff. And then she ends up getting it, and I'm like walking by, I'm like, I want a slice of pizza. Like, you get you smell it, dude. It just overcapsulates your like your
yeah,
senses and everything.
yeah. You can't be that guy. You just got to go straight for the pizza and say, I need that pizza."
Well, when you walk into a place, dude, you got that should be your first character when you walk into a restaurant is you want your place to smell like an actual restaurant. Like not like I smell Lysol wipes. Like what the hell? No, you
Yeah,
want to walk in, you
no,
want that bread to take it. You want to sit by the oven and have your face next to it, be like, yeah.
yeah. I completely agree on that. It definitely gives you a bad experience if you smell the cleaning products or the, obviously the bathroom's definitely a whole different Oprah. Yeah.
I mean, they're all good scenarios on pizza combinations you can make, like putting French fries on a pizza. I mean, even with that one I was telling you about, like with the Chick-fil-A sauces, using it as sauce on a pizza. There's so much out there. It's like there's going to keep being something else, something else, something else. And they get crazier and crazier combinations you wouldn't think would work. But like I went to Olive Garden when I was a kid. You take some of that garlic bread, you incorporate that in on vanilla ice cream. The garlic and the vanilla go together perfectly. I don't know what it is. I've seen people do it on Snapchat on those late night eats, and I'm like, that looks like it's going to give you your stomach an ulcer, but it
Yeah,
works out.
I never tried that. I know, like French fries and like Wendy's Frosty. People do that. Like salty sweet must be.
I've never tried that one yet, but I've tried
I've
the
never tried it either, but I've heard about that. I've never heard of the Olive Garden one, but I'm
I
always down to
discovered
try.
that one on my own. That's a little secret to all you people out there if you want to try that. If you ever go to an Olive Garden, I don't know where one is in my area. There isn't one. Our Wendy's also burned down. They said it was Greek lightning. I don't know what the hell that means, but sounds like an insurance thing. But I mean, it's interesting too. Like people like hot sauce on their pizza. And I was going to ask you, have you ever reached out to any of the other communities, like the hot sauce community or the barbecue community, and tried to break in there? Like you're in the pizza community. I'm involved in
Yeah.
the chili head community, even though I don't know anything about chili peppers, or I just like hot sauce, and that's why they like me. I've talked to so many of them, and same thing with the barbecue thing. I'm trying to break into the pizza community right now. So you're kind of one of the first. I've had another dude on, Austin Haslam makes his own Neapolitan style pizza, but it's interesting. Like, have you ever tried reaching out to these communities?
It's actually kind of funny you asked that. My brother represents Cholula hot sauce for his work, and they're trying to come up with a marketing campaign to market the Cholula hot sauce to pizzerias for Cinco de Mayo. So actually, this week I am going to be making my pizzas using the Cholula hot sauce. I'll share it with you. I'm not sure when this is going to be published, but I'm going to let me hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to make um, pizzas into like street tacos. So I'm going to make like 3-4 inch pizzas. On the pizzas, I'm going to put like just um, cheese and like a meat. And then once it's done, I'm going to put the fresh ingredients on there, like um, tomatoes, whatever onion, cilantro, and then the hot sauce, sour cream, whatever you want to put on there. So basically, they're like pizza tacos. And then another pizza I'm going to make is a elote pizza, which is a Mexican street corn. So I'm going to, char some corn and put like a cream sauce, and then use the Cholula hot sauce on top of that.
I like both those ideas. I think that's the best part about pizza poppers, or those like little pizza rolls, like those convenience factor. Having a small thing like that's why people always order. Can I get one slice? You're not freaking walking with your family on the boardwalk or on like if you're walking down the street or something, like, let me get a pizza. You get a whole pizza, you're sitting there eating it out of the box. It just looks ridiculous. But I think for a combination, you might want to try if you're going to do like a nice hot sauce style thing. Maybe instead of using pizza sauce on the pizza, maybe use something like salsa, or try and make it the pizza sauce like a style of salsa, and then take
Yeah,
tortilla chips, crumble up those, and drizzle some of that on top of there, because a lot of people do like that crunch factor. Just make sure it's grounded up a little bit, because you don't want people freaking jabbing themselves in the roof of their mouth or something, and add hot sauce on
yeah,
top of it.
yeah. That's good. I was actually gonna do like no sauce. I was just gonna be like the dough, cheese, meat, and then the sauce is basically like the salsa and the hot sauce you put on top.
Yeah,
But
that'd be perfect,
those
dude.
those are all good ideas. I mean, if you're a pizzeria and you're marketing to like say Cinco de Mayo, I mean most people are probably going out to like Mexican food that day, right? So
Exactly.
if you can kind of market your business and make have the same ingredients that you would normally have in your pizzeria, but now turn it into like a fun taco theme night, I think it kind of might be able to benefit you as a pizzeria.
Every night is a fiesta. And I appreciate you, Michael, for coming out and doing the podcast. And I want to give you here a minute at the end to be able to promote your Instagram page, promote anything you want to promote, your business. People maybe in your area can call and get a pizza delivered to them with gloves on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks, Robbie, for having me on. Yeah, my Instagram is pizza in the sack. So that's just all one word.
Why? Why?
Kind of a play on words, you know. Well, I'm from Sacramento,
Okay,
and
all right, that's it.
I make pizza, so pizza in the sack, right?
No, see, the way I thought of it was like the scene from Step Brothers where I'm gonna put my nutsack on your drum set. He dips his testicle on every slice.
Yeah, yeah. So I came across it one night, and actually I forgot about it for a few days, and then finally it came back to me. So I'm like, all right, I need to turn this into an Instagram page. So it's been fun. I mean, I call them my pizza pen pals. I talk to people all throughout the country, and you know, Europe as well, and Canada. So it's super fun to interact with people with the same interest and kind of learn from them as well. But yeah, if you're from Sacramento or Northern California, if you're visiting, yeah, check out my Instagram page, Pizza in the Sack. Also, it has a link to my Airbnb profile, so where if you can take a look at my experience, if you want to come to the backyard pizza experience, you can. Always, you can always message me on Instagram. I'm always able to answer any questions in regards to making homemade pizzas or the best pizza to get in your area or whatnot. So yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast.
And thank you so much for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode.